Discover the secret to a slimmer you with Madame Madeline's Slim Tea. Feel the transformation with every sip.
No one knew when Madeline came into the town. No bus brought her. No taxi dropped her. Yet, one morning, the old wooden shop at the corner of Ayodele Street, the one that had been abandoned for almost 5 years, suddenly had new curtains, freshly washed windows, and a smooth signboard hanging proudly. Madame Madeleine Slim Tea, become the best version of you. People grew curious. They wanted to know who the new shop owner really was. And then she stepped out. Madeline was not the kind of beauty people could describe with simple words. She had the kind of face that made you pause mid-sentence. Her skin glowed like she bathed in moonlight. She had dreamy eyes that looked as if they had borrowed their light from the stars. Her lips were ruby red, even though she wore no visible makeup. Her hourglass shape was impossible to ignore. Bold, stunning, and enough to make men lose their train of thought. But what struck people the most was her presence. She walked with the confidence of someone who owned everyone's attention and knew it. Her smile was everything, soft, bright, and healing. One look at it, and your sorrow simply melted away. And she moved with a grace that didn't seem human. She set up her shop alone. No assistant, no relatives, no worker. She dragged in heavy pots by herself. She hung shelves. She painted the door. She arranged jars filled with brightly colored herbs. Whenever someone tried to help, she smiled politely. "Thank you. I prefer to work alone." And she meant it. She cooked her tea alone behind a locked door that no customer was ever allowed to enter. By the fourth week, her shop was buzzing like a festival ground. Madeline's tea worked like pure magic. Just few days into taking it, and the results were enough to leave anyone stunned. Women desperate to share stubborn weight. Men hoping to impress women. Young girls trying to shape their figures. Even elderly people looking for a fresh burst of energy. Soon, it became the talk of the town. Whispers in the market, conversations in the church, murmurs on the street corners. Everyone wanted Madeline's tea. If Funana first heard about Madeline's tea from two church women gossiping after Sunday service. "I saw Uju yesterday," one said. "My sister, Uju now looks like a model. You won't believe it is the same person." "It is the tea," the other whispered excitedly. "Madame Madeline, they say in just 5 days, you will become who you want to be." If Onana listened to everything with quiet interest, slim, beautiful, model, each word echoed in her mind, stirring emotions she had fought so hard to suppress. Since childbirth, her body had changed. Her once sharp jawline had softened. Her stomach carried a pouch that refused to leave. Her legs felt heavier. Her confidence slowly chipped away each time someone made a small comment. Even though her husband Ekene loved her deeply and had always told her she was still as beautiful as ever, her own reflection had become her enemy. So the next morning, while Ekene was at work, Efonana tied her scarf, picked her purse, and walked to Madeline's shop. The bell above the shop door jingled softly as Efonana stepped in. A warm, sweet fragrance filled the air. Madeline stood behind the counter, grinding herbs with slow elegance. When she lifted her face, her dreamy eyes locked onto Efonana with an unsettling intensity. Efonana didn't need to say anything. She already knew why she was there. She walked gracefully, to a shelf and picked up a bottle from among the many. On it was written, Slim Tea for Transformation. Ephona swallowed. How does it work? Madeline leaned closer, her voice dropping to a whisper. You drink 1 cup every night before sleep. Do not add anything. Do not skip. Do not stop halfway. Ephona nodded eagerly. She was ready to take the tea and could hardly wait for the transformation. How much is it? 25,000 naira. Ephona blinked. That was expensive. But the way Madeline's eyes gazed at her made her feel like she was already halfway to becoming beautiful. She paid. Madeline gave her the tea like she was handing her a sacred item. You will become everything you wish to be, she said in a hypnotic voice. Ephona felt a strange shiver run down her spine. She thanked her and left. Behind her, Madeline's smile slowly widened. Not warm, not kind, still hungry, still waiting. That night, when Ephona drank the tea, she felt a warm sensation spread through her chest, then her stomach, then her entire body. It felt good, too good. She had a deep, peaceful sleep. The next morning, she woke up feeling lighter. She looked into the mirror and gasped. It wasn't obvious yet, but she could feel a change. Her face seemed slimmer, her body lighter. A rush of happiness bubbled inside her. Within 2 weeks, the changes were impossible to miss. Her cheeks sharpened, her arms toned, her stomach tucked in. Her dresses hung beautifully on her. Friends and neighbors kept asking for her secrets. Even Ekene couldn't hide his shock. He stared at her, amazed by how much she had changed. Ephona laughed like a schoolgirl. She felt beautiful again. She bought another bottle of the tea. The tea was truly magical, or so she thought. Then it began with dizziness. A little spin when she stood up, a faint ringing in her ears, a strange fatigue in her bones. She shrugged it off. Then the weakness came, sudden tiredness, cold hands, fast heartbeats, shortness of breath. Ekene grew worried. But the mirror told a different story. Her beauty still remained, but her eyes darkened. Her shoulders slumped. Her skin turned pale beneath the glow. One evening, while cooking, she almost fainted. Ekene dropped everything and rushed her to the hospital. The doctor ran a test, checked her blood, her organs, her vitals. Everything came back normal. She's exhausted, the doctor concluded. No underlying health issues, just bed rest for now. Bed rest? Ephona felt her body screaming that something was wrong, something deeper, something inside her. But she nodded anyways, too tired to even argue. That night, the first dream came. She dreamt of a strange, very beautiful woman with an odd, unsettling smile. The woman handed her a cup filled with a liquid she couldn't identify and made her drink it. Transformation must be complete, she whispered. Ephona tried to run, but her legs wouldn't move. Something warm slithered up her stomach, a worm-like movement. She gasped awake, drenched in sweat. The room was dark. Her heart was racing. Her throat was dry. She woke Ekene and told him the dream, her voice trembling. But Ekene sighed. Ephona, your mind is stressed. You are hallucinating. Just rest. You will feel better in the morning. She nodded, but her heart was uneasy. Something wasn't right, and she suspected the tea. She just couldn't explain how. And now, It was slowly taking her away. Sleep became a dangerous thing for Ephona. A doorway where something waited for her, watched her, haunted her. Every night, her dream deepened into something darker. It started gently, like drifting into fog. She would find herself walking barefoot through a moonless forest. The air thickened, heavy like wet clothes. The silence felt alive, pressing against her ears as though the trees were listening. Her heartbeat echoed like footsteps. Thump, thump, thump. Then the whispers came, soft, distant, dragging like breath pushed through teeth. Transformation must be complete. And each time, Efunanya woke up with a violent jerk, choking on her own scream. Ekene bolted upright beside her. Ify, what is it? She could only sob, shaking uncontrollably. He held her, rocking her gently, whispering comfort she could barely hear. It was her, she gasped finally. Ekene, she was there. Madeline, I saw her clearly. She was talking to me. He frowned deeply. Efunanya, those dreams, they are not dreams, she cried. Something is wrong. I can feel it inside me. I can feel it moving. Ekene placed a hand on her stomach. Nothing is moving. But she slapped his hand away, horrified. You don't understand. Something is eating me. Her voice cracked. Ekene exhaled hard, frustration and fear missing on his face. We'll go to another hospital tomorrow, a bigger one. Please, try to rest. Rest? How could she rest when sleep dragged her back into darkness? But she said nothing. She called into herself, trembling until exhaustion pulled her under again. By morning, Efunanya couldn't stand without support. She was so thin her bones showed. Her lips were pale. Her eyes were sunken, as if someone had stolen her brightness. Ekene was now so scared. He carried her to the car. But before they reached the hospital, she began gasping for breath. Her fingers clawed at the seat. Her eyes rolled back. Ekene, she whispered weakly. She reached for his hand. Her grip was cold. Her pupils shrank. Her chest rose once, twice. Then it stopped. Ekene screamed her name. The word blood. Faces of nurses rushed. Hands dragged her away. Machines beeped. Voices called orders. Then a flat sound filled the air. A straight, unbroken beep. Efunanya was gone. Just like that. Thin, hollow, drained of life. As though something had sucked her dry from the inside. And in that moment, something inside Ekene broke forever. Neighbors filled the house. Women wailed. Men shook their heads in pity. Sympathizers prayed. But Ekene sat on the floor like a stone, holding a head wrap in his hands, staring at nothing. He didn't eat. He didn't speak. He didn't blink. He only replayed her last words. Don't let me die. Her strange dreams, her sudden weakness, the worms she swore she saw, the tea she drank. Piece by piece, the whispers she told him in fear returned to him like echoes rising from a grave. He wished he had taken her dreams and fears seriously. Guilt clawed at him. And then he remembered the tea. He stood up slowly, walked to the kitchen, opened the top cupboard, and there it was, the bottle of Madeline's slim tea, still half full. His stomach knotted. He reached for it with trembling hands. And what he saw inside froze his blood. Worms, pale, thin, wriggling worms, alive, exactly as if Unana described. His breath caught, his body shook. He dropped the bottle. Then a whisper, not from the tea, but from somewhere deep inside his memory, Ifunana's voice. Ekene, something is happening to me. And for the first time since her death, Ekene felt something stronger than grief. Rage, cold, burning rage. Something killed his wife. Something hiding behind purple paint and sweet-smelling herbs. Something named Madeline. Ekene wiped his tears, clenched his fist, and vowed to expose whatever evil Madeline was hiding behind it. After Ifunanya's funeral, Ekene could not rest. Her death haunted every corner of the house. The tea kept coming to his mind, the worms he saw, the dream she described before she died. One afternoon, unable to contain his suspicion, Ekene decided to observe Madeline. He walked to her shop but kept his distance. From the street, he noticed how Madeline walked alone. No helpers, no apprentice. She prepared every jar herself, meticulously, behind a locked door that no customer could enter. People came and left, praising her, smiling. But Ekene noticed some looked paler, weaker than before. That night, Ekene recalled what Ephona had said about the pot in her dreams. The whispered words, the crawling sensation. Something connected Madeline to Ephonanya's slow death. A fire of resolve ignited in him. He would uncover the truth, no matter how dark it was. Ekene could no longer ignore the signs. Ifunanya's death had been too strange, too sudden. Her body had been beautiful one day, drained and skeletal the next. The tea bottle with wriggling worms haunted his thoughts. Every whisper of her last days tormented him. The dizziness, the fatigue, the dreams. He decided to investigate. The next morning, he began quietly asking around. He spoke to neighbors, friends, anyone who had ever bought Madeline's tea. Most laughed and dismissed him. "You just lemon tea, relax." But a few lowered their voices. He heard about a woman named Florence. She had bought Madeline's tea weeks ago and had grown unusually thin. Worse, she complained of extreme fatigue and things crawling inside her. Ekene went to her house. Florence was frail, barely able to lift her head. Her eyes darted nervously as she spoke. "It started with dreams, then weakness. No, now I feel them crawling inside me. I can see them sometimes. In the toilet, they come out." Ekene's blood ran cold. One by one, he found more victims. Some were vomiting worms. Some were pale, gaunt, trembling. Others, like Ephonanya, had been dreaming of Madeline, vivid nightmares that ended in whispers of blood and hunger. It was no longer a coincidence. The tea was the source. Madeline's magical brew, prepared alone in her locked back room, contained something alive, something feeding on the people who trusted her. Ekene realized the horrifying truth. Madeline wasn't just an ordinary tea seller. She was a powerful witch. She had been slowly sucking the life from anyone who drank her tea. Her power, her beauty, her wealth, it all came from the blood of the unsuspecting. By the evening, he had gathered enough stories, enough proof in his mind to confront her. But he knew he could not go alone. He needed the victims, the community, to stand with him. Madeline had made her victims. Now, the people of the community would rise. And when they did, there would be no hiding for the witch. Ekene gathered a group of people, those whose loved ones had fallen victim to Madeline's evil tea. The angry mob stormed Madeline's shop. They carried sticks, machetes, anything they could lay their hands on. The crowd raised their voices. The sound of anger echoed through the narrow streets. But when they reached the shop was empty. No Madeline, no jars, no shelves. It wasn't just empty. It looked abandoned, exactly the way it had been before Madeline came. The people searched the empty shop in vain. Every shelf, every corner, every jar. They were gone. Only the sweet smell in the air remained, thick and unsettling. The wind rustled through the empty streets, and far away, in some hidden place, a woman with glowing green eyes smiled, knowing her work was far from over. People like Madeline still walk among us. They won't always come as tea sellers. They can come as friends, healers, advisors, even as helpers. Their faces may look kind, but their intentions are dangerous. Be careful. Guard your body. Guard your mind. Not everything that looks harmless is safe. Always be sure of what you allow into your body, because one wrong choice can destroy everything. Please share your thoughts in the comments. And if you enjoyed this story, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. Share with your family and friends, and hit the subscribe button to be part of this beautiful family. Thank you so much for watching. See you in my next video. Bye.